Senior .NET devs, does your AI know the difference between a company standard and a personal preference? Because right now, it likely treats both the exact same way. Here's your you already know this reminder for Senior .NET developers. Real engineering happens inside an organization, and your AI has never seen yours. It has no org chart. Your work has 4 layers: company standards, team conventions, project decisions, and personal preferences. Your AI has one flat pile. And you already know how to build the layers because you've built them in .NET for years. Think about appsettings.json. It sets the base. And then the environments like test, development, production can override and refine it. And then user secrets kind of sets the personal layer. So, copy that across, 4 scopes and you're done. Well, I built it that way at first, but it's wrong. Configuration runs on one rule. The most specific scope wins. And that rule is right for a connection string. But now if you run it on a company coding standard, then the company says explicit null checks, while a developer says, yeah, skip the null checks in its personal scope. And most specific wins, so the developer wins and the company's policy gets ignored. So you didn't actually build governance, you just built a suggestion that has extra steps. I thought about my time in small companies, medium ones, and then 6 years at one of the big 4 banks. Each one has its own hierarchy and its own rules about who can overrule whom. From developers who have to move fast to developers who have to handle a break glass situation, the rules vary. The scope of the authority is never flat. Put 2 instructions side by side. Use Postgres 16. A project should override that. A developer testing locally should be able to override it again. The closest scope wins, and that's what you would want in that situation. Now, never call eval. Nobody below the company gets to reverse that one. Not a team lead in a hurry, and not a developer whose personal instructions happen to load last. If a scope underneath can turn it off, it was never really a policy. So same 4 scopes, but opposite directions. So one question, take any instruction that you give your AI and ask, can a scope below this one override it? Some answer yes, and you'll feel fine about it. Some will answer no, and you might get a small jolt when you realize that your tool would allow it anyway. And some you may not be able to answer at all. And those are the ones that will drift on you. So run it on your 5 most repeated AI instructions this week. Your AI doesn't necessarily need a bigger context window, but it needs an org chart. And an org chart is not a list of levels. Anyone can draw 4 boxes. An org chart tells you who can overrule whom. I'm Chad Carter. I defined intelligent engineering, and I built DevNitro, the platform that runs it end to end. You already know what you're doing, so now go and build the software that your team can trust, support, and scale. And hey, if this helped, you know the drill. Plus, you may want to go ahead and share this with a developer that you like. And I'll see you in the next video.